Okay, folks, good morning. Sunday morning. Do our, as promised, painting session starting here with where we left off with the Papal Army project that we're doing right now. And last time we got the Pope's chair in, and we got the Pope somewhat finished painting. So that's the two things that we're going to work on this morning for starters. So let's go ahead and continue doing the Pope, painting him up as we speak. So there you are, Martian, welcome. Okay, so we had these colors from last time, but this was kind of dried out. So we needed to re-wet that. So here we go. Hopefully we got some of the thinner and stuff still in here. Barely. And yeah. Okay. Let's. So the other day I did an unboxing. Well, maybe it was about a week ago. I did an unboxing with the crossbowmen that were sent to me, and they were the incorrect ones. And supposedly, that's being corrected and en route. So, although I think it might be a little too late. Doesn't mean I'm not going to use them. It just means that. Let me get the right red here before I start messing this all around. It just means that at some point I've got to start working on the next army because I need them for the convention. Again, I'm going to assume that we have a convention, But regardless, I've got to work out the Amorites. So I have a feeling that after I'm done with this stand, the Papal stand, I'm probably going to go work on the Amorites. So. I just don't want to start working on the Amorites around the 1st of September. That's what it'll end up looking like. And then have to rush them. Because that army I definitely need to use for one of the events in the convention. I don't need to use these guys for the convention. I can. There's several events I could run them in, but there's other armies I have that have never seen gameplay at a convention either, because we haven't had one. So I've got other ones I can run, like in an open tournament. An open tournament, an event where you could run any army. Not that there's anything wrong with this one, but there's other armies I haven't run in an open yet because they've been built since we've had a tournament. So, but we have an event called the Bronze Age Beatdown, and that's any army from 1200 BC or earlier. So the only army I would have would be the Amorites. So, got to get them done for sure. This red dried out on me. It's behaving weird. So let's just put another new piece here. A spot of red. And as warned, we did not have a painting session till yesterday morning. I went out of town. We were out on the salt water, so couldn't film from the saltwater thing. Mr. Peter, welcome. Willkommen. We got a lot of things to do today. On and off camera, a lot. So. We'll just see if the weather holds out to do them. Of course, the weather won't affect this. This is smooth sailing. So this is just going to be a red gown. He's going to have the 2 pieces of cloth that are dangling around his neck. Those will be in white with some black crosses on it and his white hat. That's at least what the plan is. This is a figure that's converted. I have a feeling based on what his hands look like that it's probably a Corvus Belli figure from their 100 Years' War range that I picked up at a flea market purchase where people, selling extra figures. Well, that's my kind of talk, selling extra figures. That's exactly what I like. Good morning. Love the new 2-screen and sound. Okay, the sound's gotta be better. So, about 2 years ago. 2 years ago? I don't know. So I had the last phone I had that I was filming on, the Samsung 8 Plus. I had gotten a microphone for it. I had gotten a Rode microphone. It was about $60, something like that. And I got to use it for about 4 months. And then that phone died. It didn't die. It got a crack through the filming lens, which is exactly the wrong place to get it. So everything I was filming was coming out blurry. So I upgraded to the new phone, and which is what you're seeing now. But that microphone is not compatible with this phone. So I had just gone back to using the microphone on the phone, which honestly it sounds pretty good, but hopefully this sounds a hell of a lot better. So I did some research and I'm like, okay, well, now that we've got the ability to do the high-speed modem, 'cause that's really the thing that happened last Friday or Friday before last, we finally got into the 20th century, and now I've got good internet here at home. So now we can film through my computer. There's a computer right over here. You're seeing the side view of it. Hello. And that allows me to connect more peripherals. So thank goodness. It only took forever. We've been on DSL for 20 years, and the download speed just couldn't handle all this stuff. So hopefully the videos will keep getting better. Jeffrey Smith, first time live with a new setup, sound and vision much improved. Good. Well, this vision, this camera view here in this area would have always been this good if it was up to me, but YouTube decided not to. You know what? I got to check one thing. I got to make sure that my right side is my right side, and I think it isn't. Is it reversed? Damn it. I hate it when this happens. Why does it default to reverse? Let's do this now, not at the end of the show. We had it correct last time, and I didn't change anything. So, let's see. I think if I go in studio mode, let me get out of this. I'm still new at this. The picture's reversed. Okay, I don't know why it defaults to the picture being reversed. So, there we go. That should fix it. Yeah. So this little spot here is one on my screen. I need to see it backwards on my screen. And it looked like it was backwards. I should write on here, this side towards the right. Okay, we should be good now. Whew, that was early. Thanks, Ben, for the save. Ben Waddy running recon for me. Much appreciated. Okay. So, Again, I'll say it again. I am not a technology person. That doesn't mean I'm anti-technology. What it means is that technology changes way too damn fast. There's people who make a living, and I apologize if you're one of these people, but there's some people that make a living getting us to buy new shit that doesn't need to be bought because our old stuff works just fine. Okay? There's a saying here in the United States that's called keeping up with the Joneses. And it goes something along the lines of, you have a perfectly good A, B, C, D, whatever the heck it is. Okay, it might be a vehicle. Let's use a car for an example. You have a perfectly good car that's 2 years old, runs fine. But your neighbor decides to get a new vehicle. And now you have an older vehicle. So now you feel like you got to buy a new one to keep up with them. It's keeping up with the Joneses. Your neighbor's apparently the Joneses. I don't know. Probably came up in the 1950s or 60s. I don't know. It's stupid. I don't believe in buying things just because, somebody else has something better. So, my phone, I don't care how many new versions of the phone come out. I won't buy another phone until this one craps out. And then I'll buy another one immediately because I need one, I don't just buy stuff because other people have things. I know I've mentioned this before. It may have been just in passing, but I use Facebook groups a lot, and I've joined some face groups that involve vehicles because we had to renew our leases, and I got a kind of a sporty vehicle, so I decided to join the group for it, to see what things people do to them, to modify them. Nothing crazy like tuning or anything like that, but just to see. And there is a whole lot of that keeping up with the Joneses thing on there, and that's just not my personality type. If somebody buys something nice that you don't have and it's nicer, just be happy for them. Otherwise, you keep just spending money and getting something, you're never going to be happy. Just enjoy what you have. We can't all have it all, and just be happy for other people. But yeah, there's some nasty people on car groups, and they're probably on every group. Just somebody will post a picture of something, and people are always poo-pooing it. If you don't like something, you don't have to tell everybody, though. You don't have to tell the entire world that you don't like it. Just keep it to yourself, man. I have enough negativity at work. I don't need that in my personal life. No reason to bring other people down. So we got a. Speaking of cars, there's a car meet that happens once a month. I didn't know about here in town. No big deal, but people go there and talk cars or whatever. And it just so happens that it's today. It's the first Saturday, so I'm going to attempt to go to that and see what the crowd is like. Okay, if it's all douche-ridden, I'm not really interested in spending any time there. It's like playing games. Okay, I play games with people I enjoy playing games with. We don't play with any people that are a pain in the ass, and if they are, then I just won't play games with them, kind of thing. So that's going to be my first one of those to attend. We'll see how it goes. I want to remain positive, but I don't know. People disappoint me all the time. So we're on here for another, say, hour and a half for sure, and then we will be back on. We'll be back on later. We got to attempt to mow the lawn in between the raining. We'll see if I can do that. Not that it needs it that bad, but it's an opportunity to do it on a non-work day, because it's very difficult to try to fit things in like that when you're tired from being at work. And then, the odds are that it's rained at some point throughout the day. The afternoons are notorious for being when it rains here. What else we got to do? I think that's it. Got to fit some laundry in there between things. Not bad, but just so it doesn't get out of hand. This guy's got a little... Let's see if I can get a tweezer and get rid of that. Yeah, there's a lot of nasty people on the internet. So I'm the opposite of most people. Most people are nastier on the internet than in person. I'm nastier in person. Because on the internet, if you're nasty, you get in an argument and you have to defend yourself. So you're just creating, your mouth is creating more work for you. Now, I understand maybe there's people out there that like to argue. I don't. Okay? I don't need to be the Messiah and try to save anybody from, and get them to my point of view. So, you know, I save myself the trouble. I'm certainly opinionated, but it doesn't mean I've got to go out and post controversial things on there. And a lot of people that argue about stuff is very a lot of the connotation of how what you put down is said is lost by not being able to do it face to face. So you end up going round and round, and you know, you mean A, but people interpret you to mean B, and you know, that kind of stuff. So. All right, let's start adding. Let's create new words while we're at it. I have enough new words. I don't need that one. Adding and subtractification. Things I say that I would never write down. I make all kinds of vocal missteps, I'm sure. Sometimes my mouth is talking faster than my brain, which, as I get older, isn't that difficult. It comes naturally. Let's see how this goes. Just making sure it's not too bold of a step between colors. It might be. You can always just add a little bit more thinner, and then it's thinned out and more transparent. What I want to get to do is his face, because that's really what brings a figure together, is the face. I mentioned the other day, I wish I had done this. The technology wasn't there, but I wish I had done this like 10 years ago, because 10 years ago, I wake up, put my contacts in, right? I'm painting in 20/20 vision. I can't do that anymore. So if I was painting in 20/20 vision, I could just look up over here and go, oh, okay, what comment is that? Instead, I've got to put my glasses on because the screen is, I'm going to say 2 feet, 2.5 feet from me. I can't get it any closer. But I can't see the comments unless I put on my glasses. I can kind of make out that a new comment may have appeared, but that's the best I can do. So I've got to go stop, put my glasses on. Like, what did they say? Oh, no, never mind. That's the same thing that they were saying before. That's all. So if you're wondering why I'm taking on and off my glasses so many times, that's what it is. The new normal happened about 4 years ago, probably. So now, instead of painting in 20/20 vision, I'm painting with about a +6 correction all the time, built in. So I get to enjoy the little folds and crannies of the figure a lot more than I used to. I don't know that I'm painting any better. I probably am, but I'm enjoying the painting more. I don't know if that makes any sense, but Now, we may have to bring this up a little bit more, but we're going to stop there and then bring the white up to an equivalent level. Let's see if you guys can. Now with this new camera, let's see if we can do this. Let's do this and put a light colored background behind them so you can see. Maybe that helps me. That doesn't help. It's still going to look really dark on the phone. All right, so let's go ahead and paint the little white thing around them. All right, so I'm going to use a little bit of brown, not black. Let's grab a dark brown. Chocolate brown. Where's that SS1? SS camouflage black, which isn't black at all. Let's put some of that here. Oh no, we don't want to drop him on there. Not that I couldn't fix it, but that just wastes time. This is, the base to this isn't heavy enough. Yeah, see? Exhibit Q. You stay over there. Don't misbehave, we'll have to spank you. And he might just enjoy it. All right. That's something I need to look up today. How to lube a chair. I've got this office, like a computer chair. And when I shift from side to side, which happens a lot as I'm grabbing things here and there, you know, you hear that creak like a pirate ship with no pirates. Or no ship. So maybe we can figure out how to do it. I flipped this thing upside down and I'm like, I don't know where the oiling points are on this. Or if there's any solution. I mean, I'm sure this thing is made in, you know, that place way back when. And, you know, either you use them until they break and then you just move on. Guaranteed, you know. Things aren't made for longevity. So this will be the first thing that has a significant amount of green stuff that I have painted. Well, we'll see how it goes. Maybe this will encourage me to build more things with green stuff, or I will never do this again because it was unsatisfying. So way back when I did the reveal of what army I was going to work on next, after these guys, where I discussed doing the Amorites, I had gotten, there was multiple reasons why I decided on doing that army. First of all, the real catalyst is Joe built an army. What was featured in the last gameplay video, the army that has some spearmen that he had to get. And the spearmen that he got were figures that I really, really liked how they looked. They were Essex figures, and they had little shields, and they had these conical type helmets, and they looked very Assyrian-like. so to speak. But the casting, the shape was really good. So I'm like, I got to find an army to use those guys in. And the casting is called Amorite Spearmen. So I looked into doing the Amorites, saw that their army list looked interesting. And it's an army that none of us have. So I decided to, do a little bit more research, find out who these guys and then I realized that these guys are guys that are mentioned in the Bible that I'm not going to say they're devil worshippers, but they worshipped a deity that sacrificed children, and they used this artistic depiction has been used of their god being outstretched hand, and they put children and they burn them alive. Real creepy stuff, right? And any kind of human sacrifice is just disturbing, and then sacrificing children is just disturbing times 10. But it'd be a chance to make this idol out of green stuff. And then somebody, I think in one of the comments, said, hey, where did you get the idea that that Amorites were human sacrificers? And I started looking through, and I'm like, oh, that's the Ammonites. So I'm like, oh, well, I'll still build the army. And of course, I already bought the army at that point. Well, I'll still build the army anyways. We just won't give them a really cool, creepy camp, right? So the other day, I was doing some research. I don't know if it's research. We'll call it idea gathering, okay? Because I'm not doing research from a standpoint of doing a paper. Just ideas of how to paint these guys coming up. And I came across some article, some Illuminati type article, which, I don't know, I haven't read any of that stuff because, I don't believe in far-fetched things, regardless of whether or not they're true. But anyhow, and it brought up the Amorites and the child worshiping thing or whatever. So I may still do a child worshiping camp for them. A child worshiping camp, a child sacrificing camp for them. But I would make my own idol, because you do not want to look up something on internet that goes something along the lines of idol for, you don't want to look up like little idols that would be appropriate that you could modify for the army, because you get all kinds of creepy stuff, So, but I may or may not do that. But regardless, that's not a priority for the army. But yeah, I got the Amorites and Ammonites mixed up. They sound the same. Old Testament's not exactly my forte by a long shot, so. But the army list looks cool. I think they'll be fun to play. And I may still build that anyways. But this will be a trial run using some of this green stuff, because who knows where that's going to lead. All right, let's lighten this up. Add more white. Amorites, Ammonites, megabytes, gigabytes. Yeah, they all sound the same to me. Well, those last two don't, but. Old Don Harding has a lot of Old Testament type armies, and he's always given me the Bible, the Bible school Old Testament lesson, so. Maybe you can tell me all about these guys after I get them done. And that's the problem with Book One armies. Is Book One armies have very little. Obviously, the farther back you go, the less references there are for what they composed of or how they were dressed or what have you. You've got steles and carvings of the Assyrians and stuff did and things like that, but it's a lot more limited. And they say that a lot of these things are based on things in the Old Testament, and they say that whether or not you believe that it's accurate, at least it gives you at least it's a source that goes on with a lot more detail than anything else is available. Or so I've heard. So I'm like, okay, well, a lot of this stuff just isn't. So that's the problem with Book One armies for me. Not that their troop compositions aren't interesting. It's just that there's not a whole lot of other reading material that gets me excited about playing them or painting them. And to be honest with you, a lot of them are just kind of bareheaded or what have you. Now, because I had so much fun with my lackluster looking Carriage and my medieval Irish, which are basically, for the most part, all of their figures are just a bunch of, I don't know about peasants, but people that just showed up with whatever they had on hand as a lack of uniform. They were a lot of fun to paint. So I am looking forward to painting the Amorites because of that, because they're in the same boat. Except on top of that, a lot of them are bare-chested and no shoes wearing as well. So that'll be my challenge, to make that army look interesting, and not be like, oh, a bunch of other half-naked dudes. No, yeah, whatever, So I'm looking forward to doing that. Another army that I had a high interest in doing, and I may do them one day, is Herod's army, and do it a conversion between the Hasmonean Jewish and the, what's the later one called? Hasmonean, and the other one is, I forget what the list is called. It's like Book 250 is one of them, and one of them is like two lists earlier. Just do them combined together. Because I already have Armenians, and they're an enemy of Luke's favorite army, and it really works kind of for the armies that we have. The problem with them is that I looked up what they look like, and they look. The troops are going to look. It's going to look like a very Hellenistic army. So you're going to put them on the board, and like, oh, by the way, this is my King Herod's army of Israel, and you're going to be like, no, they're not. They're like a Macedonian army. Well, the problem is that's the equipment that they had. So I may do them because I like the troop composition. It fits in well with everything else I have. I got Romans that you can use as allies, and all kinds of fun things like that. But I'm going to have to put a Hebrew spin on them. Mildly, like I might have to do, something, maybe some blue trim here, just to kind of tie. That's one of those things where you take things that are realistic, but then you put your own artistic license on them to tie them together. And so we'll see. That they may still have hope for them. So 115 later Amorite. Yes, that's 115 later Amorite. Yes, that's them. But Osprey even made a book. Do I have it? I don't think I have it. I haven't gotten that far. On the army of Herod. And but they don't look like how you would think they would look. They're just not Hebrew enough looking. Because I think the Star of David wasn't a thing yet, so you're not supposed to be able to put those on their symbols. This symbology symbology? We'll call it symbology, even though it might be incorrect saying it that. The symbology of that was a like a cornucopia symbol. But like a lot of their shields were red. Well, I'm not going to paint them with a bunch of red shields because then they look Roman. You know, you got to give them kind of their own individual spin. So that is an army that is on the radar. I don't have any of the figures for them, so that's kind of one strike against them. I got plenty of things to paint, so there's no reason to paint something out of nowhere. But like I've mentioned before, I think most armies are interesting. There's only a handful of armies that I'm just not interested in painting them ever again. And for the most part, they're armies that nobody makes any figures for. Something like Toltec or something like that, or, you know, something off the wall that no one makes figures for them, and the army consistency is very boring or very monochrome, you know. Like the Toltec, I think they changed them a little bit, but the old Toltec were all like blade. The entire army is just all blade. Well, that's freaking boring, you know. Nobody wants to do that. And nobody makes figures for them. Yes, you can convert other things, but it's not like I'm screaming to get that done. So. Late Judean, I think, is what the other army is. One is like book 250 and one's 251 or something like that. Anyways, I could build both of them together. You know, the Jewish list that's after the Maccabees, the Maccabean list, both of those, they would be cool. They're interesting army lists. They're not power ones, but you can bulk them up with allies. And Marco, good morning. Welcome, welcome. Well, like I said, just about every army is interesting to me. So. Can you guys hear the ceiling fan at all? I suspect that you can't. Otherwise, you probably would have said something. But love the new views. Excellent. Hopefully, it'll keep getting better. I could bump up the resolution. Oh, that one thing I wanted to check is I want to see what my CPU usage is during all of this. I want to make sure I'm not overtaxing this thing. Where are we at? 14%. 15.5, 17.1. Okay, so it looks like it's consistently under 20%. Okay, that's good. Should be fine. Can't hear it. Excellent. So I've got a little microphone display here, and if I'm quiet, it's you still get, you know, some. Now it's in a bunch of negative decibels or things like that, so that isn't an issue. But yeah, good. Yeah, I can't paint without air circulation. It's one of those things. I can't drop the AC to lower than 72 degrees. It's going to freeze the unit and be cost prohibitive, unfortunately. I would love the house to be like 60 or in the 50s or something like that, but you know, we'll save that for the winter where we won't even run the heat. Because it'll get cold, it'll get into the high teens a couple days. I need to get some more coffee. I'll be right back. All right. How far up did we go on this guy? I think that's probably good to start. Let's go ahead and do his flesh part now. The Pope's flesh. Is that one of those things you carry on crusade? The flesh of the Pope. Oh, wrong color. Right next to it. Whew. Not one of those things you carry on crusade. The flesh of the Pope as an artifact. Packed up Carthaginian and early Imperial Roman armies, not plebeian, I know, and sent them to a buddy in Australia. Well, you sent them to somebody else, so they can deal with your army. That's actually a better matchup. That's actually a better matchup. They weren't historical enemies, but that is a better. I'm forcing him to get into and play DBA. Well, that sounds a little bit too persuasive. It's just, this isn't going to appeal to some people, and that's okay. You know, I've seen people like, oh, I don't like DBA. Looks stupid. There's not enough figures on the field. Yeah, well, there kind of aren't. But you know, how many games do you complete in an afternoon? You know, if you have a limited amount of time, you should play this. You know. Could the game be better? Absolutely. Could it be worse? Oh, most definitely. But why have I not played another Senegal Miniatures game since discovering this in 2004? For the most part, you know, played a couple games of Gaslands, but whatever. For the most part, this is the only thing I've been painting because everything else is just kind of not time, a good use of time. So it allows me to learn about history, look up things, paint things, be creative, and there's an infinite amount of material basically to do. And yeah, is it perfect? No, it's not perfect. Could it be better? Sure, it could be better, but that's what we got. I disagree. When I'm dictator, everyone will have to play. Well, I didn't take you for a short dude. Okay. Well. You know, these people that supposedly have a lot of money and want to control things. I'm not going to mention any names. And I say supposedly because, you know, we're all being manipulated to some degree. Whether we realize it or not. But I would never be one of those. If I had an infinite amount of money, I wouldn't be like, well, I want to change the world. I'm like, I want to buy my own island, design my own flag, and just get away from the rest of y'all. That would just be me. But I'm not a control freak, and I'm, you know, dictator. Dictator's too busy telling people what to do to enjoy gaming and painting figures. That's just not a good fit for me. That's not a good fit for me. How many dictators, like, gave up power? How many people like came to power and said, I'm ready to step back and just give this back to, I went in, I corrected a problem, because that's what Roman dictators are supposed to do. They got elected for a year. If I don't get the details of this right, hey, don't sue me. I'm not a history professor, okay? I just took a lot of history classes and I enjoy it. But that's where it comes from the Romans, or at least, and I think it was actually 6 months, not even a year. To come in and like, okay, well, we need one person to get this thing resolved, and then their term would be up, and they would go back to being a citizen. But how many dictators have come in and like voluntarily given up power after they straightened stuff out? Sulla did it, whether you're a fan of him or not. He did that, and then probably to a lesser degree, Franco. I'm sure there's others, but it's certainly the exception. Usually they just run the damn thing into the ground, or the people revolt, or an outside power comes in, and Cincinnatus did. Okay, Diocletian gave up being emperor. You're right. Yeah, he was the one that split the army in fourths. Right, he split it in half, and then he had an emperor and a. He had and the Caesar. There was a Caesar, the co-emperor, so to speak, or the under one, if I remember correctly. Yeah. So there's a few. Cincinnatus. That was before my time. That's way back there. That's even before Polybian times. Yeah, that would be... What's the army list before the Polybian army? Camillan? I think that's what it is. And what does he get remembered by? They built some city in Ohio, barely in Ohio, named after him. Oliver Cromwell, perhaps. Did Oliver Cromwell step down? Sulla kind of set the entire chessboard in his favor and then gave up power. He's an interesting guy. He's an interesting guy. The unfortunate thing is you can't really play with DVA. You can't really play those Roman civil wars. You can't do like Marius and Sulla or the what's that other war? The war that Sulla was involved in, the social war. There's no army list for the social war. For the non-Roman things. I guess you could use some of the Italian allies, but it wouldn't be even close. I mean, you're talking about blades fighting solid auxilia. Not exactly much of a match there. Make your own rules for that kind of stuff. But the Roman stuff is, so many people do the Roman stuff because it's written about, and it's written about because their stuff survived. There's many other civilizations that could have been just as interesting as the Romans. Not just as interesting, but interesting as well. But we don't know about them because their writings didn't exist. Didn't survive, or, weren't written down. Kind of a shame, really. Social wars are cool to read about, yeah. Oliver Cromwell died. Then his son took over. Oh. Yeah, English Civil War is not my forte. Most interesting thing about King Charles I, he was 5'6" tall at the start of his reign, but only 4'8" by tall at the end because of Oliver Cromwell. Monty Python, anyone? I don't know that one. I haven't seen that skit. Just get two Polybian armies and play them against each other. It would actually be two Marian armies and play against each other. Which I guess there's a lot of different ways to make them, but... Yeah, English Civil War is not my thing. Sorry. It's still better than the American Civil War, which isn't saying anything because I'm just not interested in that at all. But you're American. Yeah, but my people weren't over here yet. That's all y'all fighting over each other. The Oliver Cromwell song by Monty Python is amazing. Okay. Thankfully, the Sumerians wrote a lot. Excellent. Welcome, Skylab. Look out for those mountain lions. Oliver Cromwell died in office. Okay. Yeah, he's the one that they dug him back up, and then they cut him into pieces and spread him everywhere. I don't think there's that many people that happened. I could be wrong, but usually dictators, they got ego issues, and it's only being fed by more power, and that kind of is not conducive to them stepping down. So, Marco, when you take over as dictator, are you going to step down, or are we going to have to force your ass out? Or are you going to sneak your way in like, Hitler, when people actually vote for you, and then, you'll get voted in to be a supreme person, by accident. And say, oh, yeah, by the way, I'm going to take over. What? What the hell? Speaking of Hitler, so Hitler was Austrian, right? Oh, you guys know that. Arnold is Austrian, right? So if Hitler spoke English, would his voice sound like Arnold? And by the way, are there any videos of Hitler speaking in English? That's interesting. I've never thought about that. Yeah. Not that I give a shit what he had to say. I'm just saying. Harold II was dismembered by William the Conqueror. You have to pry my crown out of my cold, dead hands. Too busy coughing from the smoke from California to look for cougars. Yeah. So, mountain lions, cougars, pumas, all the same animal, right? What's the difference between the two? You apparently call them cougars because you just use that. So who calls them what? And then we got the little ones here, the Florida panther, half-assed cousin, whatever. Which, by the way, I saw one a couple years ago at night. It had to be that. It was either that or an escaped leopard from a zoo, okay? Because the thing was massive, and it was at night, and it crossed the highway. Massive meaning it wasn't a friggin' house cat, okay? And they have them in Florida. But, yeah, I mean, even a full-grown one of those is small compared to a mountain lion, cougar. One of the Byzantine emperors who initiated... Oh, yeah, there's all kinds of the Byzantine history is just insane. That's like, that alone would just make a great movie. Of course, they just ruin it and change it all. One of the Byzantine emperors who initiated an iconoclasm. Why is that banned? I know why it's banned. We're going to show that. You can use that word here. You just can't call someone that. You can't be nasty to other people. You can certainly use that. One of the Byzantine emperors who initiated an iconoclasm. Oh, that guy's not fun at parties. was posthumously disinterred by some monks in Constantinople and his body dismembered and thrown into the Bosporus. They then changed his name in the history books to Copronymus, Copronymus, which means in Greek the shit name. Nice. Did they cut his nose off when he dug him up, and then also dismembered him? Cougar and mountain lions are the same. Okay, so what do they call them? Pumas? Or they only have to put those on your feet? Hey, it's better to call them shoes Pumas than mountain lions. I'm gonna go buy me a new pair of mountain lion shoes. What? Yeah, iconoclasm. Are you an iconoclast? I don't know. That's kind of like the Byzantine Puritans, wouldn't it be? Like the guys like, we can't have any. I think the Byzantine art is beautiful. I think it's absolutely beautiful. Everybody looks the same, whether it's a picture of Jesus, or a Byzantine emperor, or a saint, or a patriarch. They all have the same type of face, which is okay. I think it's very stylized and I think it looks very nice. I'm a big fan. I would not be an iconoclast. Let's put it that way. They're Byzantines. They probably cut the nose. There are very few known videos of Hitler speaking in his normal voice, let alone English. That's true. He's always on some damn rant. I will be more benign dictator, no nose cutting, gulags, and hard labor. I think Pumas are more South American style. Okay, I'm somewhat of an iconoclast, but I actually made my own 6x6 Greek style mosaic last year. I'll send you a photo. Excellent. Excellent. I think that stuff's amazing. I think it's cool. There's lots of art that is really, really neat. Is really, really neat. As long as it's not that. I went to in college, I had an art appreciation class, which honestly I thought was pretty interesting. But I'm pretty set in my ways. And, people are allowed to do everything we want, but I'm hard to convince. As an artistic-oriented person, there's some things I don't appreciate, because I can tell you that you can just throw them together. Like, performance art, stuff like that. Yeah, people can do it. You can call it art if you want, but you're not getting any traction from me, okay? And, okay, so they make money, and I don't. All right, that's fine. It's irrelevant, But, like, I would not put, I talked about this the other day, Spanish painters. I love Velázquez. Now, I may not want a painting of a fruit bowl or the royal family in my house, but that's freaking amazing looking, okay? I would not put him in the same category as Picasso, where, my daughter honestly could do a better job, If you like Picasso, well, that's cool, It's just not my thing, Yeah. Mosaic stuff is cool. I think the Greek Orthodox stuff is really neat. I've always wanted to go to a Greek Orthodox service. Never gone to one. They just not that many of them around here. So. But I think that'd be cool. All right. Where did we leave off? Here. And who's that other guy? Is it Kandinsky? The guy that's just like basic colors in like squares. And what? Come on, man. Lay off the drugs. Oh, well. This guy's his hand gesture here looks like. And let me tell you another thing. I attend non-denominational church, but the Greek Orthodox Church and faith are beautiful. Stuck in the 7th century, but beautiful. Yeah. Well, I didn't say you had to believe in this stuff. It just go in there and appreciate the art, you know? All right. This guy, unfortunately, has freaking eyes. I should probably do them now before I get further along. I hate doing eyes. I hate doing eyes because no matter how good a job you do, they're over scale. Nothing you can do about that. All right, so let's get our white here. Okay. And of course, one eye is round and the other one is oblong shaped. So that doesn't help either. Yeah, I made them both a little bit more oblong shape. Hey, now we got good resolution. Maybe you can see what I'm talking about. All right. Huh? Now we'll let that dry a little bit. And what I found out that works the best for me for eyes is I take a little bit of black and I just run a vertical strip. Don't even try to make it center. You know, you don't need to show any white underneath the pupil part. Just show that there's some kind of a pupil. The rise of Islam froze the Greek Orthodox Church in its place 7th century. Very, 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 very few things have changed in the church since then. Tony, good morning to you. Did you enjoy your day at the coast? We did. We did. Yes, we went scalloping yesterday, which we do about once a year, and we got a 4 times bigger haul than last time. Still under legal limits, or it's expensive. I mean, it's expensive if you go and charter a boat and stuff like that. But, you do it once a year. You get your saltwater therapy. You have some adult beverages while you're on the ship. It's safe and relaxing, and, and then you get to have a yummy meal later. Yeah, we got I tried to count them, about 200 of them between the 5 of us. So, they're out there. They're just hard to find sometimes. So, but, you know, it's part of the experience. So, hello, Studio WGS. Welcome. I could detect the eyes but not see them too clear. The eyes make him look sinister. Well, you know, none of these guys were nice folks. None of these folks of these time periods were great, classy individuals. Excellent. Not perfect. Well, that would be his right eye. Turned out superb. Really handy. Really happy with that. See if we can fix this other one. We'll redo it. Ah, shoot. That's not my washout thing. I'm still getting used to my washout thing being all the way over here on the right. But ideally, I would like the computer on the opposite side. But with it being that way, my hand's going to always be in the way because I'm extremely right-handed. Meaning I can't paint with my left hand. But then it would be a shot at the door, too, when people came in, which isn't going to happen today. Unless somebody breaks in, and then they're going to have a problem. But, you know, just this back wall kind of thing, so. On the display. We don't have break-in problems in this neighborhood that I know of. You gotta pay to make it difficult. You gotta pay a little bit more money to live somewhere so that you don't have, hopefully you won't have those problems. They could still happen, but. I had a friend of mine a while ago that always would, he lived in a rough part of town that kept getting rougher every year. And he always would brag that, hey, my property taxes went down. I said, yeah, because, you know, things get broken into your part of town, you know, easily. Just completed a Palmyran video, so winding down here. Oh, cool. Cool army. Yeah, Palmyrans, those are interesting guys. Forged in Battle make a figure for Zenobia, don't they? Yeah. That's cool. Riding a camel, if I remember correctly. All right, let's try this eye again. The eye socket is a lot smaller in this one, so that's too wet. I could do this a bunch of times, but I'd really rather move on to something else. You know, we do have things to do today, and not, you know, doing what'd you do today? I completed a set of eyes. You know, we got to do more than that. It's too dry. Come on, get it together. It's just the pupil's just too small. All right, third time's a charm. All this stuff you guys don't see unless you got some kind of behind the scenes thing here. All right, now let's do this. Maybe the finest. That may be the finest one I have. Let's see. Who's back here? This one, maybe? This one looks like. So the good thing about using cheap brushes is if you have to modify them by maybe taking one little hair off because it's out of place, you don't fret about it too much. Because, okay. All right, let's try that with this. I don't know if it'll be any better. We'll find out soon enough. It doesn't look like it's better. All right, here goes the ball game. It must be misshapen. Okay, I think that's what it is. I think his one eye is misshapen. I'll have you guys take a look at that. And then we'll bring the rest of his face up and hopefully it'll look reasonable. Well, it'll look reasonable. Hopefully it'll look good. Let's see. Let's put it on this so that I'm not shaking all over the place, even though just a little bit of shake on your hands and people can't see things. Come on. Focus. You were focused. He looks terrible, that big. Looks like a really badly painted 28mm figure. All right, well, we're not done with him yet, so. We got his eyes, unfortunately, where he needed to. So, that took forever. I'd rather than just not mold the eyes. But if they do and they bulge, you have to paint them. You know, you can't just not paint them. So, Zenobia figure is very nice. Okay, regular also do it as Zenobia figure. Regular miniatures Palmyrans were one of the first DV armies painted. Also, first use of acrylics. This will be an all-day extravaganza. You might still be going when we wake in the morning. I may be, but it won't be all in one session. I'm not gonna. I've got things I gotta do. I gotta do some other things. I'll be on here for another 40 minutes or so. Then we'll come back. So if you go to bed, probably won't miss anything. Went to sleep last night. I had a dream about snakes, which is strange because I don't remember the last time I thought about a snake, but it didn't make any sense. I was in some apartment. Every time you opened the door to go outside, there was just snakes everywhere. You had to step on them, and hopefully they didn't strike, which is weird. I'm not afraid of snakes or anything like that. I can't control what I'm thinking about when I'm asleep. Not my fault. All right. Hopefully this guy looks dull. That's okay. That's what we want him to look, dull looking guy. Like, I wouldn't follow this guy to the porta potty, There's a little piece of fluff on here. Okay, it's gone. Okay. You like the new presentation? Excellent. Me too. I like the new resolution is what I like. Earlier this week, I saw a fascinating video of a little snake that eats snails by using its lower jaw to pry them out of the shell. Huh. Nature's more incredible than fiction. You call it a portaloo. We need to come up with a clever or humorous name for this figure you're painting. Well, we'll see what he's done. Well, the thing is that I did not want him based on a certain pope. Okay? In reality, during the time period that I plan on doing this, the most correct pope would probably be Innocent IV. Okay? Around the 1230s, something like that. So, one of the things that he's going to say is, I can already tell you right now, when if they go into contact with his stand and he gets captured or whatever, he's like, hey, I'm an innocent, right? Because he literally is. He didn't do anything. His name is Innocent. But, yeah, we'll come up with a fake pope name for him, whatever. We got to finish him up, though. Yeah. One of the things that I do from time to time, well, I haven't done it in a while, but is paint these cars for Gaslands. Of course, I have a handful of them. I've never played the game, which I've played a handful of times, with painted cars. We just went and used whatever Matchbox cars we had. Unpainted, because I'm the only one painting them, so the other guys aren't going to paint them, so I'm not going to build cars for everybody. I mean, otherwise, wouldn't get anything done. But I have done a few. And I'm a member of some of the Gasland groups, although to be honest with you, not very active anymore. But that's typical gamer thing. Something new will come out and everybody jumps on it and they're all excited about it. And a couple of years go by and nobody plays it anymore. They've moved on to something else. It's probably human nature as well. But people constantly have these really cool cars done And they're like, okay, I just need a name for the car. And I'm like, I'm already naming the car before it's built because they get built around a particular theme. And the name does a play on that theme. So I do things backwards. A lot of guys will just build a car and they don't have a name for it. Well, you know, yeah, we'll give this guy a name, but that's constantly all the time. Help me name this car, and they have it completely done with, you know, guns, or it might be have like a ram on it, or a cowcatcher looking ram, so to speak, and they don't have a play on words. So haven't played that in a while. But the last time we played it, we weren't able to finish it. So, you know, in that respect, that's a failed game. We didn't come to a conclusion. Pope guilty. Guiltonius. Innocentus Maximus. Well, none of the popes used Maximus. Yeah. I'm probably taking this a lot slower than I normally would. I don't know why. I don't want to redo it. The fan actually may be on too high. Drying this stuff out. I have no idea what speed it's at. Let's go to 3. Hopefully 3 isn't one of those speeds that makes a noise. There's like 1 that's like... Hopefully that's not it. The thing about fans, they'll all eventually crap out or start making annoying noise or so forth. All right, now we can add some white to this. Next time painting table is Battletech. I did them way back in the day, in the early 1990s. Just dry brushed them and then painted a couple different things. They turned. I wish I'd kept pictures of them. I remember they turned out pretty well at the time. I probably look at them now and go, Waiting on the next Steam sale to try playing that new BattleTech game. It's got good reviews. We manage like a BattleTech. I guess it would be a company, something like that. Came out a couple years ago. Got really good reviews. I don't need to play that right now. That keeps me from painting. I got stuff I got to do. Although I'll be honest with you, the fact that I have a cable modem, there was a game that I wanted to play. And I needed a download for it for an update, and that's really annoying when you have a slow internet. It was like 5.2 gigabytes, and it took a fraction of the time, downloading that through Xbox Live than it normally did. Like a 20th of the amount of time, maybe even faster than that. Pope's Throne are going for a wood finish or an upholstered one? The correct answer is yes. The finish is going to be all brown except where the cushion parts go. See, he's got a cushion there that he sits on and a cushion in the... This camera, I've got to turn things backwards to be able to get it. There we go. So it's going to be upholstered a little bit. So that's what I really want to do, because I love painting things of wood that aren't wood. You know, obviously it's not wood because it's plastic or it's a white metal thing. And I enjoy making them look like they are made of wood when they are not, when the item is not. All right. So these litters are really weird elements. Really, really weird elements. They can't go into close combat. Kind of like a war wagon. But they only cost 1 pip to move them. They fight as a solid blade. But I believe knights cannot quick kill them. But they're quick killed if they're on a tie against, you know, I gotta read that. I haven't played them yet, so I was just kind of scanning like, okay, this is interesting. Like, we gotta play with this stuff, because this is really, really interesting. Like, interesting things could happen. Oh, and it's a unit that's unlike anything else because it has these outcome results that are unusual. Yeah, so if the total is less than half of its opponent, but more than half. Like, why isn't this written in friggin' English? I don't know. Maybe I'm too dense to understand it. But so basically, if you're outscored, okay, no effect for a litter. So outscoring a litter does not recoil them. They are like hordes in that they don't budge. So they don't recoil. But they do get quick killed by knights, okay, because they're still treated as blades. Okay, they're still destroyed by knights or side chariots if in good going, or by warband. And the added thing is, on a tie, solid foot will destroy them on a tie if 2 edges are in contact or more. So on a tie, if they're just going 1-to-1 against another unit, it won't matter. But if they have the door closed on them, so to speak, then they will die on a tie against solid foot. So they will be quick killed by knights. Okay. Good. Want to make sure we got that right. Anyhow, to be continued, to be seen in action. I'm sure we'll play something with them wrong, unintentionally. It's always going to happen. It's always going to happen, so... Okay. Okay, Greg, enjoy the night time. See you later on. Okay, back to what we were doing here. I just had a thought about that, and I was thinking that the way the rules are written, man, it's just so damn hard to figure things out sometimes. I don't know. Us common folk can't figure it out. You know, I never enjoyed diagramming sentences in school, and a lot of it is that. All right, we're going to leave his face where it is for now. I can always go in and modify it a little bit. Let's have you guys take a look at this. And man, the lighting's terrible in here. Let's see if this is better. It's impossible to find this screen. Because see, by reversing this camera to avoid a reversing view, to move things to the right, I actually go to the left. So I got to go back asswards. Come on. It looks terrible. That's not what it looks like in person. He looks a lot darker than he really is. His face. Okay, let's do his hat. This we'll use the white for this. We're going to finish this guy all the way. Then we'll worry about his throne. Then we'll worry about the little rug he's sitting on. And then we can finish the flag bearer guy. Because now we'll have the Pope done. We want to make sure that the flag bearer does not outshine the Pope. Looks wise, you don't want him to look more complicated or fancier than the Pope. Or I don't want him to do that. You may want to do that, but I do not. His hat goes a little bit further down. And then the Pope flag, and put those guys together, and it's done. So yeah, it's still quite a bit of work, but that's all right. Now, I've seen pictures of this guy with almost like these little tassels that come off his helmet, off his hat. I'm not going to do that. They're just too flimsy. It's not necessary. And there is kind of a little ridge there. On the bottom lip of it. Whew. I'm not a mid-air painter. I gotta brace this thing on something. It's just a hell of a lot less stressful, for one. Let's see where we're at on here. Let's move this to the edge and move this to the edge, because I don't want to eat up the end here, because this screw is one of those drywall type screws. I got a ton of them sitting around, but they are a little sharp, let's put it that way. Not sharp enough where you can cut yourself, but definitely not something you want to rub up against, because it could damage it. All right, let's look at it so far. It's not done. It's going to be pretty bright white. You know, it's not like it wants to get this thing dirty or anything. This whole twisting it the opposite way that I want to go is weird. All right. Whew. He's got Marty Feldman eyes. Just kidding. I've actually never seen that. You know why? It's black and white. I should just suck it up and watch it. I don't do black and white. I know exactly what you're talking. Yes, master. Yes. Yeah, kind of. It's actually not that dark. Just the lighting here is not ideal for the filming. It's ideal for painting. Yeah, he's a little Uncle Fester looking, isn't he? Yeah. All right, so we got to put little crosses on them. All right. Let's see which one we're going to do this on. How are we doing on time? We got time to do that. We'll do the crosses and then we'll stop. We'll stop for now. How long have we been on here? Oh, this is a new display. I got to be able to see how long I've been on here. I can't see that. Oh, there's an hour and 40 minutes. Yeah. We'll be on later today. That way you guys can do your hobby stuff too while you listen to some idiot rant about a pope. I'm sure that's what those of you that are inclined to watch, I'm sure you're working on your other stuff while you're doing it. That's what I would do. That's what I've done in the past. I've done that sort of thing. So, Hot Zetan, there you go. His Holiness. Easy now. All right. We want one. This has got a little at the end of the thing, so I don't know how confident I feel. One of the things is sometimes you get a brush, you want a brush that you're really confident in it. You know it's not going to let you down or create more work for you. So we're going to go ahead and put one of them here and put the other one here. Okay, and then we're going to put the other one here. And put the other one here. See, that one was too thick. I'll have to fix that up. That means the other one is going to be about here and here. And then the last one about here and here. So we just put these vertical lines on here. And now let's close them up. And how could I forget? I'm going to end with a single one back here. All right, so this is what it looks like without being cleaned up. Now, when I did this strap, we'll call this the strap. I don't know what the hell it's called. I don't need to look up not the strap at all, but I didn't finish these guys all the way up on purpose because I knew I was going to have to do some kind of a cleanup. So we're going to come in here with this same type brown that we used, because I wanted to do this one with a brown base and the other one with a black base, so it looks slightly different. I don't want this cloth material and the hat material to look exactly the same because they're not made from the same material. So it would be nearly impossible to get them to both look the same way. So we're just going to come down here and we're going to clean this up. Don't have to do much of it. And then we'll add a little bit more white. Bring this up to the point where we're going to leave it at. Oh. I got to do it backwards. I got to remember that. I got to spin it the opposite way that I want it to show up so that it'll be okay on camera. I don't remember this. Okay, this is my right hand, so it needs to be on my left side. Okay, perfect. I just got to remember that. When I start the video, just go ahead and flip it because it doesn't naturally do that. Green stuff is paint. Was originally designed as plumber sealant. I know you're not a fan of black and white older films. I'm not. No, the older film's fine. It's the black and white. I just feel a little sad you might be missing some of the greatest films. The problem is that I may have waited too long to see it. And I may actually not have enjoyed it as I had I seen it 20 years ago. Sorry. Look, if I'm watching a film, I'm not painting, so that's kind of a loss in and of itself. We're going to close this up, and this is where we leave this guy at. Now, we will be on... We'll be on probably later on today, and I don't mean like in the evening. We should be back in the afternoon. So I got to go take care of something here in a little bit, and then I'll be back on. But thanks for stopping by, and there will be more, and we'll finish the Pope up, which there's not a whole lot left to do on him, and then we'll roll into doing his throne. So anyhow. To be continued. And thanks for stopping by, folks. And we will catch you guys in a little while. See ya.